Hey everyone, Anthony, 4x4 Adventures. The vehicle build continues and I'm going to put some USB outlets in the console here and then a couple of places, so I'll give you a little bit of info, show you what I'm doing. I've got some eBay specials here. That's pretty much what they are. There's a lot of different brands you can get. Seems to be the easiest place to buy them. You know me, I'd rather go to a shop and use the folding, but sometimes. So pop the blanking panels out. You just get in either the top or the bottom, push that clip. And it's hard to get in both sides, so you just give it a bit of a lever and it'll just pop out eventually, right? So I've got 4 of those popped out. With the size of these, the square ones are for the later models, the smaller square ones. The longer ones are for the early, like the 120 and the Hilux. These are the mid-size. They usually say on the side used for Toyota, but just take a look at the measurements. There is some variations in sizes of these things, but I'm pretty sure, my experience so far, they all fit. You know, I've got a couple of different ones here. I've got the USB-C, that's got the voltmeter in the middle. I'm waiting on another one to come. I've got these plain ones like that, and I've also got one with caps on it. One with the caps on it, I think is good for the console, because if you have a look, I've just sort of cleaned it up, but typically most people, all their grit and grime and dirt and sand and food and everything ends up, and what's going to happen, they're going to fill up with crap. So they're not going to be used that much. I'm going to either put 1 or 2 there. I haven't decided yet because I've got 2. I'm just thinking just put 2 in there, but I'm thinking I don't think there's already 2 on each point, so I don't think I need 2. So that's probably what's going to go there. They're not going to get used much. I'm thinking about putting 2 here. I've popped 1 out at the moment, but I'm still thinking about that. I'm going to put another one here, and then the wireless charging for the quad lock, which it's here at the moment, but it's not plugged in. We'll go into that, and this will all connect up to the dual battery. So most of all these trims just pop off. Pull your seal off a little bit. This little side cover pops off. This will pop out if you want to get a bit of access. You don't have to fully pull it apart. Down the bottom here, once again, the trims on the side, they will just pop off. Over here, I'm being lazy. You can pull this apart, but I'm just being lazy. I'll just put a bit of wire through from the side, just right next to it here, and I'm just going to pull the wire down and just tuck it in alongside the bottom underneath the trim here. You can always just tuck stuff in behind there, whatever, and get it to the front. And I'm going to join these 3 or 4, whatever I put in together. And here's my wire, my double insulated, what do you call it? Wire waiting there. It's just temporarily sitting. I'll pull it out, obviously solder all that up, so it'll be Mickey Mouse connections. These are all got their own fuse on them. I added the little zip ties here to hold all the wires together. I think that's a good option for you as well. And I'll just take that up to pull it through anyway. But all these will get soldered off into however many points, nice and neatly up under the dash, secured. And of course, they've got, as I was saying, they've got their own fuse. So try and put it somewhere where it's going to be accessible, which is why I like that one. Will probably end up just underneath that trim there somewhere, because the distance thing, maybe a bit further forward, where I can access it in the event of worst case scenario. And this wiring here will be fused from the front anyway, whatever. So you get the picture. It's a bit hard to show too much detail. Clean these holes out. Generally, I think all the ones I've got, all these eBay specials, they all sort of fit. So you can probably go for the cheapest one. You're going to get the odd one that doesn't work. That's why I just go, you know, order 3, 4 or 5, a couple more than what you need. You can give it to a mate if it all works out. You can keep one for a spare. For next time, whatever the case may be. If one fails, you can change it over if you're lucky. You might be able to pull enough of it out and just unplug it and swap it over without doing anything with the wiring if they're the same type. Quite a lot of them come with these plugs, but they don't all come with those plugs, which is okay as well. Could be going, but it could be wrong, but going by memory, this was the most El Cheapo one I could get, and you can see that one just clips in beautifully like that, and they've got the covers on there, like I said, to cover it up so they don't collect up with crap. Beautiful. I think I've decided one I'll do for now, so I'll just put that blanking clip back in. Simple as that. As suspected, that's where it's come out for now. I'll just remove this, and the fuse for my own, when I need to find it, will be just there. Easy to access, hidden away under the trim, or I might even just leave it out because it's not in the way of anything. I might have the wire tucked in up to there and then go back under about there with the wire and leave the fuse hanging out, even better. Doubt we ever need to access it, but at least anybody will know where it is. Then is a good opportunity. And I'll get some more wire and join it on here to keep extending it up this way where we're going to have our main join. What I'm going to do, same with these ones, just get some of these spare old zip ties I've got and just zip tie the two so you haven't got 2 separate wires floating around. Just keep it all neat and zip tied together nice and neat. These end terminals will get cut off this one. So this one's different, it hasn't got the plug, so This one, because it's got the voltmeter on it, I'll probably put that at the left side of the steering wheel, because yeah, you can have a look at it, and then the USB-C is more accessible to the center of the vehicle, and that'll be like that, so it should stay clean. That's a decent quality looking one. I think there was a decent brand on some of them anyway, but I've forgotten. Switch Boss or something, might have been. And this one I'll probably put at the right hand side of the steering wheel just for the quad lock thing. And I've got another one coming. I think it's a dual USB with a voltmeter on it. I think that one will end up at the right hand side driver's side of the steering wheel, but I might have two there, or I might just need to, maybe I just need to stop and wait till the next one turns up, don't I? But I can't, I need something to do, all right. Don't you reckon that looks neater? The other thing you can do if you're worried about these coming unplugged is put a zip tie over the top of the plug between the two, you know, here, 2 wires each side, 1 wire each side, and it'll just hold it together. I've pulled on it, I don't think there's a need to. But yeah, I just like to get all these wires all zip tied together. It's also good to temporarily tape up the ends, so when you feed the wires through, they're not getting split going each way, they're just together. This is my thinking. Over this side, I'm probably only ever going to use one. So it'll be this one to charge the quad lock, and it's got the voltmeter above it. So with that plugged in, I can still see the voltmeter, and the USB probably never get used anyway, or not for a long time. So this is going there. Let's pop that in place, see how well that one works out. Well, bloody nice and tight, and it looks great, doesn't it? Always check when installing, just have a look behind you, plenty of room behind there where the wire's sticking out, and just give those a rework as necessary if you need to. Just give them a bit of a, you know, a rework that's a bit of a bend, a slight bend, so they're not pressing into anything else as required, and you can see it's hanging at the bottom, so you can route it neatly somewhere. Like I said, these are all going to come together and get powered off one wire. Bloody beautiful. See these 3 yellow clips? These clips on Toyotas just work really well. It's just, look at that, just beautiful. Right, now I don't need any more access at the side cover, so let's show you once again. These yellow clips, they're just going to pop straight in. I don't even need to show you what that is, you just pop it in. There it is, beautiful. And just tuck that trim back in. We've got our scan gauge 3 wire coming out there as well, if you're wondering what that is. Get rid of this wire soon. It's the same story over here. Right, I've got that one sitting in there, run down there, hard to see what's going on. This panel, same thing, white clips this time. Really easy to pull off and clip back on with those white clips. So I'm just going to sit that panel in and push it in. Right, so that's the 4 white clips, that whole panel does pull out. It's a good general Prado info. And another, this is one of the different ones, didn't have the caps on it. I think it came from where that other one came from, but I'm not sure where they all came from, but they should all just go and push into place like that. So nice and neat, beautiful, happy days. Have a look for yourself. eBay specials, and there's the wire down there ready for connection. Quick little technology note for all the people that think wireless charging is great and you want that, and how can you live without it? Well, wireless charging is a good way to wreck your phone and your battery, because there's not a wire there. So you think about how it works, and in another 10, 20 or 30 years, they'll probably tell you how that's why you got all the cancer and radiation, okay? But anyway, I like a wire. The phone stays cooler, it charges better. So bada bing, we've got that one there, that one there, that one there. We've got wires here, we've got to extend over to here somewhere. These ones don't need to be extended, and we'll join all 3 together onto that wire, which will just cut, it's all tucked in behind the trim. It'll come over here, and then we'll neatly secure it up there with some zip ties, all pretty straightforward. You connect the black to the black and the red to the red. Make sure it's well insulated and keep the red and black separate all over the place. Remembering red's positive and the whole vehicle's earth negative. So anywhere on the vehicle metal is negative really. So you want to be just aware of all that if you're doing any auto electrical, which is pretty straightforward. But and just make sure you're not in the way of any, you know, just have a look, go, okay, we've got an airbag there, we've got electronics here. You might just want to use some zip ties and tape and make sure everything's secured out of the way. When my other one turns up with the 2 USBs and the voltmeter, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might pop it there. Depends how well I can see that one, if I'm happy with that, or if I want to have another view of a voltmeter. Good to have a voltmeter there, but it could just get filled up with junk, like I said. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I might have some spares. Left-handed videoing. These trims, again, those clips, just awesome. Everything just pulls off and pushes back on. So that works really well. Where did this come from? Oh, that's that side one that goes up there. All right, so once again, there is a little locator at the front, whatever. So make sure that pops in the hole at the front. See there? And those yellow clips obviously go there, happy days. I can probably pop those in for now. I'm just gonna tuck these wires up out of the way. I don't know if I'm connecting them at the moment or not, I don't know. Okay, so next, I've got the wire out and I've left plenty. So I'm gonna cut some of this off because I don't need that much. I'm gonna leave a bit of spare tuck behind here in case I ever need more at the other end or whatever changes. And I'm gonna use the offcut and join it on here, solder that on. So I'm gonna have this wire extending up, and then up above here somewhere, I'll join all three together as discussed, bada bing, bada boom style. Just decent solder joins, that's what you want. Can't really beat it. And don't forget to put your heat shrink on first. I'm gonna have two layers, this first small layer over the separate wires, and then I've got a bigger one somewhere that's already on this big wire to cover both. Make sure it's insulated. And it's good if you offset them as well, so cut the wires at different lengths, so in case it does protrude through with some sharp spiky wire and touches each other, then you won't have a problem if they're not right next to each other, like mine will be. Risk it for the biscuit. Yes, they didn't offset them. I didn't offset them as I recommend you do, but I am checking them for how sharp they are before I put the heat shrink over them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a risk factor that you can avoid, but I didn't do it. But I recommend you do. Do you know what I mean? Just cut one end longer and one end shorter so it offsets the join. Most people know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Or does anyone else love doing this? Set the car on fire. Beautiful. And then the outer one. It's just something satisfying about that shrinking of that wire, right? You know, you can just use a heat gun if you like, but you could be a bit more careful than that. It's easier to do when you're not holding a camera, but you know, I always stuff things up on the camera, burning wires and stuff, you know. So as discussed, now I've just tucked that in. So we've just got the fuse exposed. I could tuck that in and get rid of it because we're probably going to never need to get to it, but it's not in the way of anything, so we'll leave it like that for now, and I think it's pretty obvious what it's for. And then we've got the wire coming out the other end here. Right, ready to be shortened up and joined on with the other. 4 things in total coming together now, and we'll wrap this one up. So I'll just pop that trim back in as discussed earlier, and the wire's up over the top where we want everything. It'll be joined up with a bit of spare, and we'll wrap it up and it'll be up high, well out of the way. Important you don't have stuff hanging down over your pedals here, over your feet. Get tangled up and you're going to cause a bingle. And look at this, it's like Christmas. We've got wires everywhere. A few different ways to do this, and you can do whatever you want. But I actually thought about connecting all the negatives together in one bunch in a solder, and then putting a bunch of female blade terminals on the negative in a line, so I can just individually plug them all in with a male on the end of each one. I thought about that, not a bad idea, but it seems a bit untidy. Thinking about, do I just put all the negatives in one bunch together and stick the heat shrink over it? Probably going to do that, or do I join 2 at this side, 2 at that side, and then twist them and, you know, come together the other way, which means I have to put the heat shrink on first. So lots of thoughts, let's see what happens. So if you went for 50-50 phone a friend, you might be right. So I've joined 2 from each side, and then, so 2, so at the moment I've just done the negative, the black. I've got a big heat shrink down here. I've got a little one there. It might get hot and melt and stuff me over, and I'll have to use some tape instead. The main thing is whatever you do, that they're definitely 100% insulated and they're strong, good connections. Soldering is the best. Some people will disagree with that, but on a wire, it's not going to vibrate or crack. If it's soldered correctly and properly, it's the best bloody conductor, join, strong, solid. Mate, you could hang off it. It's not coming off. On a circuit board, depends how good it is, might be different with vibration and that. It's only small and sometimes heavy components and a small solder, but you know, really fine circuit boards. But something like this, soldering is gold plate. Of course, you know, terminals, if the crimping's good, they'll work fine as well. But so I'm going to solder that one first and try and get this heat shrink onto it before it gets too hot up here and shrinks up there, which might happen. Like I said, if it ends up there, bad luck, that's where it'll stay. And we'll just use some tape down here, and then I might extend cutting the insulation to get the insulation on the red one further away. But that one you can see is a little bit further. I've done that on purpose, but on the negative I'm going to risk it for the biscuit because it's just the negative. It'll get covered up, and hopefully this one that's miles away will fit over the whole lot later. Either way, some zip ties and tape. It'll be well secured, well insulated, and as you can see, perfect length, ready to be tucked up and put in a nice neat position up out of the way. Okay, so got a really awesome solder there, 100% with that, but as suspected, a bit of heat got there. Let's see what happens with that one. I was able to salvage a bit of it, which I like. I just cut the end a little bit up this end. You can see it's not tight there, but the part that was left. So the lesson here is just take a bit more of the insulation off. You need a little bit more distance than what I had. I did risk it for the biscuit. This one will be long enough, only just, but this one wasn't. I put a little bit of tape on that as well. As you can see, bloody beautiful. Where's the problem? Rock solid, love it. And there it is, another awesome rock solid solder and another bloody shrunk heat shrink. So next time, more distance. I'll just snip that little bit and bring it down, it'll be fine. Not bad considering, but once again, a little bit of tape. I did want to keep it to a minimum because I've still got this big sucker to come down, hopefully fit over the whole lot. Doesn't matter if it doesn't, but be good if it does. There it is, we got there in the end. It was very tight. And you know, when you get a tight one, you've just got to persevere, work nice and slowly. I stretch it slowly, put the screwdriver in, put the, you know, the openers in, the circlip opener things, and stretch it out a bit slowly, slide it a bit, take it out, stretch it a bit, take it slow. Try not to force it because you could rip it. You just need to really, look, so you can get some lube and put in there as well, you know, but I don't know how that works with the heating it and it shrinking again. But yeah, when it hasn't been used for a while, yeah, it can just get a bit tight. You know what I mean? If you're not good at this sort of thing, so you just need to take it slow, be patient. That's what I did. I got it all covered up. Happy days. I'm going to put a couple of those little famous little spare white zip ties on the wires at each end, here and here. There it all is, right? Now, all together, so you can still access the fuses, whatever. A bit further up to the other one, but one there, and the other one will be up there. Something like this all together is going to take you a couple hours of mucking around. If you watch the videos of it, you'll get used to all the trims and stuff. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. There's different ways to do it. You can pull all sorts of more stuff out, but as you can see, you just don't need to. They're in place, and when that's connected to the battery at the other end, it'll be butter working. No bada bing bada boom here. Bit more cleanup to do. There's a screw there from the bottom trim. I've just got to zip tie that up and tuck this wire into that side kick trim there. A little bit of spare wire. Always allow a little bit of spare, but tidy it all up. Don't leave it hanging around. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. Check out both our YouTube channels, 4x4 Diesel, 4x4 Adventures. We are preparing for another adventure. See ya.